today. This is your host. I'm Bongo from the HOWL Wildlife Photography Convention. I hope you can hear me. I hope you're having a very nice evening today. If it is evening, if you're here in the Eastern time zone like we are here. Today it's Monday. It is Monday. It's Monday, May 16th. And we're going to be looking at photography that revolves around the theme, the hidden details. We've got two fantastic photographers here presenting today. We've got Wendy and we've got Richard. I'm going to start us off here just with a little warm-up. I can't say that close-up or macro is one of my genres I wouldn't say that it's my go-to genre specifically, so I'm definitely going to let Wendy and Richard do a lot more of the talking when we get to their slideshows. But welcome everybody. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. I'm also just going to log in over here just to make sure that I've got all the comments and that I can see all of that as well. Don't hesitate to interact with us as we're here chatting. We love questions. We love trivia facts. We love comments, all of that kind of stuff. And it looks like we're live and we're here. How exciting. All right. Amazing. Okay, so like I said, I've just got a very small sample of photos here. And we're going to start with, I guess we're going to start with this one here just because it was the first one here that popped up. So we talked about, this is a Trillium, and I think this is this a red Trillium? It's not a painted Trillium. I don't think that is. The painted Trillium, as we found out last week, is the one that is the cross between the white and the red, which is super beautiful. But this is, and actually, you know what? I took this photo today. I took it with, I was shooting with a 5D Canon 5D Mark II, and the macro lens was a 100 millimeter 2.8 lens as well. So of course, and you know what? I don't have a lot of Trillium photos, so I really wanted to make sure that I got one this year so that I've got this in my portfolio. Let's go to another one here, some of my hidden details. And this is just, I don't know if anybody in the audience can guess what kind of tree this is. I really do just love getting close to my subjects. Yeah, thank you, Wendy. Wendy says beautiful. Thank you very much. I'll let the audience try and take a guess about what this tree might be. Lovely. Yes, cedar. Susan, thank you for joining us. Susan, you found the link. Amazing. Yeah, lovely, Bongo. Cedar, you got it. Yeah, I love cedar. I love the way it smells. The bark of cedar is really, really, really cool as well. Oh, Susan's got it. Yeah. Awesome. And then this is a red pine. This is a red pine. I was taking photos. One of the things that I really love about macro photography, close-up photography, is that you get to that extreme close-up and then it really messes with your mind, right? Because the depth of field is so shallow that you actually have to explore all of the angles of your subject. And here I decided to go with a little bit more of an abstract approach. I was going right in for the cone of the red pine, and then I started to catch just these silhouettes, and that's the one that I went with. I really love this. The black and white is awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, Richard. Yeah, abstract. I love abstract. I really do love abstract. And of course, abstract is when you can really get black and white to shine, right? And here we go. And actually, this is what's really cool, is that the photo, the black and white photo here that you saw, this is my subject. This is my subject. As I said, I was getting into the cones, and I was trying to. It almost looks like somebody's wearing a dress, and perhaps a dancer wearing a dress, and that's the kind of vibe that I got with this cone. Makes the contrast variations come alive. Yeah. It's so true, right? It's so true. So yeah, that black and white photo, that was the angle. Backlit too. It's really interesting when backlit subjects really work, right? And anyways, here's me focusing in on the cone of this. Did I say this is a red pine? Yes, this is a red pine. This nothing too incredible about this photo here, but I always love to find the evidence of the little creatures and how they use everything in the forest, and I just love that whole cycle of how, you know, the trees grow and then the insects invade and then the woodpeckers also invade, or the bears arrive too, right? So for me, when I find little things like this in dead vegetation, to me it tells a story. Now, mind you, when I see these kinds of holes in a cabin or a home or in wood that actually belongs to a house, then that's always a little bit of a concern. And this is I think this is either a dying, it's either a ball, I think this is a balsam, dying balsam. It's not a leaf, it's a branch, I suppose. But yeah, I just thought it looked really sad, and I wanted to capture that here in that one. And then I only have one more here because, of course, we're gonna go to Wendy next, and we're very excited to see Wendy's presentation here today. And after Wendy, we've got Richard speaking. But my last photo for today, I love mosses, and to me, somebody once asked me, what is the most amazing thing that I can see in Algonquin Provincial Park? And that question to me is just so, it's almost kind of misguided, because, you know, I could send you to Provoking Falls, I can send you to Rock Lake where they have the beautiful rock cliffs, or I can send you to Barron Canyon, or I can just say go anywhere in the forest. And to me, what I find amazing is when little things like this grow on the most unimaginable things, like just moss growing on rocks, or moss. You know what really amazes me is when you see deadheads, so pieces of wood or stumps that are jutting out of the water, and then there's moss growing on the wood that is sticking out of the water, right? Those are the kinds of things that really, really blow my mind. And of course, you know, all of the sounds and sights as well. All of those, you know, obviously breathtaking things are amazing, but it's these really, really small things that always impress me. And I'm sure that photographers like us, birds of the same feather, flock together, and I'm sure we can all relate to that. Beauty in death, exactly. Yes, unbelievable life in bogs. Yeah, 100%, yeah. And like I said, the very short presentation for me today. Those are just 7, and you know what? I took all of these images today, and in fact, super fresh, right off the press. I wanted to challenge myself to take some close-up macro photos, and that's it right there. So Wendy, I don't know if you can hear me there, but if you're there on the Google Meet, let us hear your voice, and yeah, we would love to see what you've got ready for us here today.
I'm here.
Wendy, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. Okay, just give me half a second here, and I will get your presentation photos here ready. Is there anything you want to say to introduce yourself?
I love bugs. It's probably one of my favorite things to shoot. I find that macro world fascinating. These little guys often get overlooked, and I love sharing that with other people. It's like, oh, I didn't even know that bug existed. Or from the screenshot, showing the little details in the insects, the hidden details that they have, you know, the little faces or the intricate wing patterns. So I love showing that and being able to show that to the world.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, and it's you know, everybody goes after the stars and after the mammals, like the big mammals and the sunsets and all that. And then I love it when you can just narrow in on this subject matter.
And you don't even have to go far. Like,
yes.
The majority of the stuff that I'm going to be showing tonight was actually just taken either on my backyard, like literally like 10 steps from my porch.
Yeah.
Sometimes not even.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, yeah. So can you see the first photo that we've got up here?
Yes. So that there was an image I did take in Algonquin Park. This was actually at the Mew Lake Airfield in the fall. And spider webs often get overlooked. But as soon as you put some dew on that, they just sparkle like little jewels.
Yeah. And it's mind-blowing that that the spider weave can resist that weight of all that water, right?
Well, it's an incredibly strong material. And birds will actually take the webs and use it for their nests as a binding agent.
And it's the web of life, no pun intended.
It's true, right?
Right? Oh, beautiful. So that's Mew Lake. Sorry, did you say that is the airfield or?
Yeah, that was the Mew Lake Airfield there.
Okay, super awesome. And let's go to the second one here. All right. Okay, so we've got our first. I guess this is a beetle. I need to brush up on my entomology.
This is probably one of my favorite beetles. It's the Dog Bane Beetle. And there is a plant called Dog Bane. So often where this plant grows, you will find this beetle.
Cool.
And it literally just glows like a rainbow gem. You have to have a bright sunny day to truly appreciate that iridescence it has.
I just recently learned what that word means. Iridescence? Is
Iridescence?
Iridescence. Okay, can you for those of us that are just learning that word, what is the definition of that?
The best way I could describe it is when you look at something, it almost has like a metallic sheen that often gives off a multicolored appearance. And you can't see that in shade. Loons have that.
Yes, right?
You just don't always see it. The common grackles have it. But again, unless that light hits it, you don't see that iridescence.
Yeah. Do otters get that as well?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I've actually never seen a wild otter.
Oh, okay. Well, you've got something to
I've seen
look
pictures, but I've never actually seen them in the wild.
Oh, it'll happen. I'm sure it'll happen one day. You know where to look, and
I do know where to look. It's just getting there.
And yeah, beautiful. Well, yeah, there's so many. It's like you're looking at a rainbow when you're looking at
it is.
That is so cool. And is this in your backyard, or is this?
This was actually taken in an area called North Frontenac.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Bon Echo?
Yes, I am. I've been to Bon Echo for a day trip before.
So this was taken maybe 20 minutes from there.
Okay, super.
Very, very close.
So basically the same, in the general area, of Ontario.
Yeah. This one here is a striped sweat bee. They are attracted to human sweat.
No. And it's a bee? It's a native bee?
It is a tiny little bee.
Wow. I had no idea.
But they're not aggressive. Like they don't want to sting you. They just want your sweat.
So do they collect your sweat? What do they?
I think that's what they do.
Now, do they go after animal sweat or just people sweat?
I would assume people sweat or animal sweat as well, if need be.
Yeah.
I haven't done much research on the actual harvesting part of it, but
yeah.
And
the flower that it's on, do you know?
I believe is a little sow thistle.
South thistle. Okay. Cool.
Or no, not that. Fleabane. Sorry.
Fleabane. Okay.
It's a very common. They almost look like little mini chamomile, like the daisies.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's I was gonna use the word daisy, but I kind of felt like that's probably not it.
It's related, but not the same family. Like,
cool.
Like a cousin of it.
Okay, got you. Yeah, Susan says that the bees must be after the sodium in our sweat.
It very well could be.
Very cool, very cool. Well, yeah, it's You know, the bees are having a tough time, right? So let's...
And it is a native species.
Yes, which is so important. Yeah, it's important that the native species are able to thrive, right?
Yep.
Susan says it could be white aster. I'm not
Well,
sure.
I think asters and fleabanes are the same family.
It's the same family. Okay. Super cool. Awesome. What a neat little bee. Ooh, okay. Oh, I love this next one here. That is...
So this is a spring peeper.
Yeah.
What's unusual about this is literally out my back door, not even 5 feet. This is on my fence. Like, I don't have water on my property.
Yeah.
And the spring peeper showed up literally not even 5 feet from my back door and just literally placed himself like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. It's just the perfect position for it.
Yeah.
And he let me get right up and close. Like, if I poked him, he'd let me.
What is the scale here? How small is this amphibian?
Well, spring peepers are probably no bigger than your first knuckle on your thumb at full size.
Wow. Yeah. Well, they may be really small, but when they sing together, it can be deafening.
They're deafening.
Yeah.
They definitely pack a punch in their croak.
Yeah. And I welcome it. I just think it's such an enchanting, beautiful sound.
Yeah, spring is here when you hear them calling.
Yeah, it's just so good. Yeah, and I'll often look for if I'm gonna go camping in the spring, I'll want to get a site that's close, to the peepers, just because I want to be surrounded, immersed in that sound.
Yeah.
Okay, so who do we have here?
So this is a variety of stilt bug.
Okay.
So for it to be a bug, not an insect, it does have to have a piercing mouth part. So think of like a hypodermic needle.
Okay. A bug has the hypodermic needle body part.
A little bit different than a mosquito, the way a mosquito works. But
is a mosquito a bug?
No, a mosquito is actually a fly.
Oh, okay. Whoa. All right. Okay. So, and this is not a fly because of the wings, perhaps, right? Flies only have 2 wings, right?
Yeah. So usually wings do make a difference, but it is mostly the type of mouth part that this one has.
Cool.
If I'm not mistaken, a mosquito has like 6 parts to their mouthpiece.
Is that right?
It splits. They have like 4 that kind of like position themselves. 1 injects and 1 sucks.
How about that? Yeah, they're pesky, but when you describe what actually happens in a mosquito, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Where bugs are one of 2 things: they're predatory or they are herbaceous. So a lot of them do just literally suck out the plant juices.
Neat.
Which is why some species can be considered agricultural pests.
Ah, okay. And that's probably where the word "don't bug me" comes from, because they can bug farmers, for example.
Right?
Yeah. Any other notable facts about this species, the stilt bug?
Again, quite small. Probably total length of that was maybe like a thumbnail.
Wow, that is the one incredible thing about this style of photography, is you can not really tell how big these things are, right?
Yeah. Because of the equipment I use. So I use a macro lens, but then I'm also adding another magnifying filter on the end of it to boost it that much more. But I also have to bump up my aperture priority, or my aperture, to like crazy numbers. Otherwise you have to focus stack. And you oftentimes don't get a chance to shoot more than one image of some of these. So I just shoot with external, like a on-body flash.
Okay.
And again, I'm using like apertures of like 20 or more.
Actually?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
To get the depth of field so that most of the insect is in focus.
You know what?
You have to use apertures of 20 or more, or you're stuck with focus stacking.
I gotcha. Okay. Yeah, and you know what? Even today when I was playing around with my macro lens, yeah, I was finding myself, because I was shooting at 2.8 because I needed the light, but it was almost like, yeah, it was like, okay, this isn't really registering. Like my image right now isn't, you know, it's just it's too shallow, just as you said. Yeah, because this is so small. I guess you need that f20, right?
Yeah.
That is just...
And because of you using those really high apertures, you often have to use the on-body flashes, or even carrying a flashlight while you're trying to shoot.
Yeah,
to get that.
Right, because your aperture is so small, right? There's barely...
and I shoot at night, so I have to hold a little flashlight as I'm going around. Otherwise, my camera's not going to focus on what I'm shooting at.
Yeah.
And then with the flash.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
Very cool. Wow. And are you in the mirrorless camp, or are you in the SLR?
I'm using a crop sensor, which also increases my magnification.
Of course, yeah. Susan says you get selective focus when the aperture is too open. Okay. I hear you. And now, okay, here we go. We're looking at another one here.
So this one here is a long-necked seed bug, and you know how I mentioned about that hypodermic needle?
Yeah.
So you can see that long protrusion down. That's his mouth.
That is so cool.
That's the tip of my finger. That's the tip of my pointer.
Wow.
That he's sitting on.
Ah, you're right. That is. Oh.
So that's how tiny that bug is.
Yeah. So you took this photo with one hand then?
Yeah, I'm a one hand. I can. Yep. I'm a one-hander.
How did you keep it so steady?
Luck.
Pipes of steel.
One thing is I do use a very fast shutter speed. Like I'm using 250.
Yeah.
Because any tiny movement again is going to blur it. So with these guys, I do use a fairly high shutter speed.
Very cool. This almost looks like it was taken in a white background studio. Is that just the sky?
So that's my siding. My house is white. So cool. It does allow for a nice clean background a lot of times.
I think the clean background is just right on point with this image here. It's just with the tone of the bug, not the insect. I think it works great with the white background, and you could just see the tip. That's your thumb, right?
Yeah, my pointer finger.
Pointer finger, rather.
Yeah, my little pointer finger.
And Susan says that you're steady as a rock, and
I have been gifted with steady hands.
That's hey, in photography, that's an enviable trait to have.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. What is is that a piece of metal? This is a moth, I'm guessing.
That's a moth.
Yeah.
For the life of me, I cannot remember. It's raspberry something, and I can.
It looks so raspberry.
Yeah, raspberry palthus moth or something, I think.
Fair.
I should have double checked my names before I submitted the show.
That's okay.
But just the colors and textures of moths. It's one family of insects that you could search a lifetime and not find all of them. Wow. There's such an abundance of moths.
Wow. Yeah, when I visited Acre Campground 2 weeks ago, I was actually on my way for an interior trip, and there was a pelican that was sighted at Grand Lake, and which is mind-blowing to have a pelican in Algonquin Park. And so we were on our way to interior camping, and we actually bumped into the ranger who had caught the pelican on film. And of course, we chatted about birds, but then we learned that his specialty and his big interest is moths, and he's just wild about moths. And yeah, that whole obsession that you can have with birds, you can have that with moths, right? It's because there's so many.
Yeah, when you look at the the variety of moths versus birds, it's like 100 times more. Like, it's just insane.
Wow. And it's so funny because most people wouldn't think twice about moths. They're just my hair,
And they're so easy to find. Like, you can literally just put a white sheet and put a light on it.
Yeah.
Like, I literally just put my porch light on for an hour, and I get all kinds of species that show up. And anyone who lives in a more rural area is even going to have more diversity than someone who lives in an urban area.
Yeah. And that was a raspberry, you said?
I think it's a raspberry.
Okay, not strawberry.
No, I'm actually going to check it right now. You can move on. I can see.
Sounds good. And that's probably what, as big as your fingernail?
A little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger. Okay. This, I don't know what this is.
Raspberry Pyrusta moth.
Okay. Pyrusta?
Yeah, Pyrusta.
Very cool. It's kind of like Pokemon, right?
Yeah, some of them do look like Pokemon.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us about this green one here.
So this is a leafhopper.
Leafhopper.
But that little red thing on the back is a mite.
No way.
That's a mite.
Very cool. Look at that hidden detail right there.
Yeah. So mites aren't always bad. There's parasitic mites. There's phoretic mites. And then there's predatory mites. And then there's also like symbiotic. Mm-hmm. So symbiotic mites have a really unique relationship with beetles, especially carrion beetles, because they act like little housekeepers.
I love it. 5-star butlers.
Yeah, they basically eat the material that the beetle can't clean off himself. Wow. And the beetle gets to be cleaned of dangerous bacteria as a result of not having it clean. So
there?
Oh. I'm still here.
Okay, great. I just saw I wonder if the stream may have cut out there briefly, but you're still here. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, super. Very cool. Well, yeah, Susan says that you have eagle eyes, and
that does help to find. However, sometimes it does mean, oh, that's just a little dirt, or that's just bird poop, or
yeah.
But I don't find them. Just, you have to look. It does take a lot of time and patience to look for some of them.
You do, yeah, and I really believe that people that are into photography have a natural knack for just noticing these little visual details and observing them and capturing them, right? And recording them.
And I think a true respect for the creatures that, if you don't want, if you have that fear, you're not going to take the time to try and understand them. And that was one thing I was gifted enough to not have the fear of, spiders and other creatures. I was weary of them. Like, I wouldn't handle them, but I was never afraid of them. And actually, by doing more photography, I've actually appreciated them that much more. Like, I'll handle spiders and a lot of insects that I normally wouldn't, because I understand them more. I understand their behaviors.
That's so cool. Yeah, it's great how you can really mesh artistry with naturalism and biology and entomology. It's I love it. And speaking of spiders, what are we looking at here?
This, I believe, is actually a pirate spider.
No way. Like, yar, that kind of pirate?
Yeah, I'm almost sure of it. The species hasn't been identified completely, but we were able to establish that at least it was a member of the pirate spiders.
Wow. It looks like a thing out of the nightmare.
It does look pretty creepy. And it is a male.
Okay.
So the easiest way to identify males and females is from their pedipalps.
Okay.
So their pedipalps are almost like an appendage similar to, I guess, our fingers or hands kind of thing, because it is separate from their 8 legs.
Okay.
And yeah, they have these special adaptations on the ends that they use to entice their female counterparts.
Neat. And those are the things, those 2 antennae looking things? Is that?
Yeah, so they're the ones that have the globular looking ends to them.
Yeah.
So that's their pedipalps. So it's not their fangs.
Okay.
Or their chisellariae would be the proper.
Wow. And what is the size of this one?
Probably maybe like 2 fingers across.
2 fingers.
Like, and that's from like tip to tip. So again, not a very big spider.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, yeah, I know a lot of people are creeped out by these things, but you know, they do serve a purpose in the environment and in the ecosystem. And
We would have. They're our biggest insect controllers.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And do we have any poisonous, like I know that we have the Massasauga rattlesnake in Ontario. Are there any spiders that we need to be worried about?
So the 2 spiders that are considered medically significant would be the brown recluse and the black widow. However, they're not really native to, I would say, Ontario.
Oh.
They have been spotted, but it's usually through transportation. So when we look at black widows and brown recluses, they tend to like dark, reclusive corners. That's why they're recluses. So they tend to hide and then end up being caught in transport. So a lot of the cases of sightings of those species are normally because they were transported through in your trailer, in a corner, coming up from the south, that kind of thing, or in a tent, you pack it up and bring it camping with you. So it's probably one of the biggest sightings of the 2 most medically significant. However, there are other species that can still make you very sick, and you may need minor hospital care, but is it going to cause a death? No. Right.
Well, that's a relief. And let's hope
But there's actually a species of spider that doesn't contain any venom at all. So that's pretty cool too.
That is, yeah. A friendly spider, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Susan says lighting was gorgeous, and I agree. And yes, blows my mind with information. Yes, I know. It's always good to have a walking encyclopedia on speed dial. Okay, so we saw the spider. This is another beetle, right?
Yeah, so this is actually one of the largest beetles I've ever found. Cool. This is a grapevine beetle. This is probably about 2.5 inches.
Yeah, that would be big.
Yeah, it was quite big. They can be considered pests down here in Niagara if their numbers get out of control, hence grapevine beetles. The grubs can chew on the roots of the grapevine, so in excessive numbers it can cause some damage, but for the most part they're not too bad.
Yeah. Is that comparable to the size of a June bug?
Probably twice, no, bigger, like I would say 3 times the size of a June bug.
3 times the size of a June bug.
Yeah, like
wow.
This was massive. Like I would say a June bug would be the size of my thumbnail.
Right.
This was like the size of my thumb.
Wow. And
in length.
And people squirm when they see June bugs.
Yeah. So this guy, I was just like absolutely in my glory. Like I thought it was just awesome. And again, this was literally at my back step.
I love it. Yeah. And again, that's the beauty of macro photography is that, yeah, you do not have to go very far to get awesome subjects. No. Now, do I see a flash? Are you using a flash or a flashlight? Okay.
Yeah, I have to use a flash almost every single time. Wow. Again, this is taken at probably 10 o'clock at night.
10 o'clock at night, and you're probably shooting at around f20, right?
Yeah.
Likely, yeah. Wow. Very cool. Okay, so the question is, what are these ants doing here?
So those are babies.
Okay, I thought, yeah, you're right. Can you see the little eyes of the babies?
So yes, so you as they start to darken up, you can start to see more and more details. So this was literally just under a piece of wood on my back in my backyard. Wow. And yeah, they're just protecting their babies. So, but yeah, you can see the little eyes, and you can see the legs, and you can see the different components.
Yeah, it is under a log, you said.
Just a piece of wood, like it was like an old piece of chipboard.
Wow. And that to me is also incredible. Like all of the hidden details that you just find nonchalantly underneath that piece of wood that's just sitting in the yard.
Yep.
Very cool. Ants are incredible. They're just absolutely incredible. It's like they run their own little society.
And so ants and bees are actually related.
Probably, right? Because their whole like society behavior is kind of similar, right?
Yeah, if you understand taxonomy in insects, they're actually from the same line. So just like damselflies and dragonflies come from the same line, ants and bees come from the same line. The biggest difference is that most of the time, ants are wingless.
Right. Do the queens have wings?
The males do.
The males do. Okay. Yeah, because, in the yard, I'll see the occasional ant that has wings. And then I'm like, oh, is that a new queen flying around? But that's a male?
Usually it's a male in search of a new queen for breeding. So it only happens like once a year.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
And then the wings get torn off eventually, and they eat that. Mm-hmm. It's nutrients for them after they're done mating.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Why waste something when you can just eat? Eat your own.
Again, it's nature's so resourceful.
Exactly. Ooh, okay, so we were talking about mosquitoes very briefly earlier. This has got to be a mosquito.
Yeah, this is definitely a mosquito. I believe this is a type of Aedes.
Okay.
Some mosquitoes are very species specific. So some will just go after mammals. I've learned recently that some will only go after reptiles.
Wow. And do you think that there's some people that naturally tend to attract more mosquitoes than other people, or is that just
it has something? I think it could have some scientific basis to that. I think something to do with the CO2 levels that people did, because they detect CO2. Okay. So That's probably a big possibility that people might emit more CO2 than others.
Yeah. I've totally been on camping trips where I have 5 mosquito bites and my camping partner has 50.
I also hear that the more smelly you are, the less likely you are to get bit.
Okay. Well, yes. As a hippie, I might not bathe as often as I should, so maybe that helps me with the mosquitoes.
During camp, like mosquito season, I've heard that does work quite well at repelling.
Yeah. And can you repeat again the whole process with the needle with the mosquito?
Yeah, so with a mosquito, I think their mouth part splits into 6 pieces. So there's like 4 anchors, and then they have 2 parts. One injects the anticoagulant, and then the other one sucks it up. And it's that anticoagulant that we react to.
That's what makes you itch, right?
Yes.
And that prevents you from bleeding, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's what an anticoagulant would do. Is it acts like a blood thinner.
That is absolutely fascinating. And my last question for you about mosquitoes: do you prefer what do you find less annoying, mosquitoes or black flies?
Black flies 100% less annoying.
I'm with you. Yes. Virtual double high fives.
A black fly will not bite indoors. And as long as your skin is covered, you can't get bit.
I know, right? Yeah. And it's so true.
And the black fly season is also shorter than mosquito.
See, you and I, we're thinking on the exact same wavelength right now.
Yeah.
Black flies for life.
Yeah, unless you want to wear a rubber suit and who wants to hear that annoying zing sound when they're camping? Nothing is worse than being in a tent with one mosquito.
And you can't find it.
Yeah, and you can't find it.
It's incredible how that one mosquito can make such a loud noise.
Yeah, oh, it's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, and then so this is another spider that we're looking at, is it?
Yes, so this is a jumping spider.
Neat.
So this is probably my favorite group of spiders. Yeah. They don't traditionally build a web that we would think. They don't use a web to hunt. So they literally are predatory.
Cool.
And search out their prey. And they are incredibly fast with their... So he's got a pale green assassin bug in his grasp. Just a nymph at this stage, though. Yeah, I know it's crazy. I can tell that much from its prey.
That's so, and it's so cool that at first it's like, oh, yeah, there's a spider. It's like, whoa, it's actually holding its dinner.
Yep. This was actually another shot taken from Bongo.
Okay.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I love jumpers. They're very easy to handle even.
They're smaller as well?
They are smaller. There are some species that can be quite large. I believe some of the Photopus species can get quite big, and some even have, I know they're very popular as pets.
My little pet jumper.
Okay. Has anyone seen Lucas the spider?
I have not. No, should I?
Okay.
Is this a cartoon
or
something?
So YouTube Lucas the spider, and it will change your mind about spiders. Okay. I tell everyone who has a fear of spiders
to watch it.
Start watching Lucas, and every time you see a spider, you think of Lucas.
Okay.
Once you've watched the videos, you'll understand.
Okay. All right. Everybody write that down. Lucas's spider.
Yeah, Lucas the spider.
On YouTube. Susan says, love that little face. I know, that little face of that spider. It really does make it. Susan also says, love Lucas. And yes, at night is the worst with the mosquitoes. I completely agree. That's the other thing, too. The mosquitoes can bite all of the time. Doesn't matter if it's dawn, yeah. So, anyways, black flies for life. Okay, what are we looking at here?
So this is a type of jagged ambush bug.
Wow, it's definitely jagged.
I do believe it does have some wing damage on it. I'm not sure what it came from, but these guys are ambush predators. They often sit in flowers and just wait for their victims to arrive.
That would be a great place to set up a booby trap because, I mean, you're going to have all kinds of pollinators being drawn to the nectar, right?
Yeah. A lot of the times they'll sit in the yellows of flowers because they blend in so well with them and just literally wait there.
No kidding. Very cool. It looks like a fruit almost.
Yeah, like a star. Did you ever have star fruit?
Have I had star fruit? I don't know if I have. Maybe at a party a long time ago, but is that a specialty fruit?
It is a specialty fruit, and they literally call it star fruit because when you slice it, it looks like a star.
Yeah.
And that's that shape of that insect reminded me of that.
This is an insect, not a bug.
This is a bug. Okay. So here, all bugs are insects, but not all insects are bugs.
Okay, all bugs are insects, but not okay. I follow you.
So bug is actually a classification within the insect realm.
I see.
However, there is a very acceptable term that amongst us arthropod geeks, because arthropod is actually the realm of spiders, crustaceans, anything we will call a bug. Right. But it's much easier to just say a bug than the scientific grouping.
Of course, yeah.
So when we say bugs, sometimes it's the actual bug family, or sometimes the loose term that blankets everything.
Right, yes. And that happens in, I'm sure, all fields of classification. I know birders, it drives them up the wall when you call every gull a seagull. Oh, look at that seagull. Look at that seagull. That's like a big no-no in the birding community, right?
Exactly.
Just the completely misclassification of an entire subsection of bird, right?
And you know what? Pine cones.
Yeah, that too.
Pine cones are a great
cone.
Example. It's not from a pine.
That's right. Yeah, there's other kinds of trees that have cones, right? Not just pines.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's good. But you know what? Geeks like us, we can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So, not bug related. This is from a wild raspberry.
Ah, yes. Look at that. With a flash?
Yes.
This is a flash. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of the other varieties of raspberry. They're not as good tasting. They're much more bland, but the fruit is bigger.
Yeah.
And they produce like really big purple flowers.
I love, just being able to taste wild fruit. And of course, always forage ethically as well. You know, I forget what they say, whether you should really, I think there's like a percentage amount that any one person should forage. But anyways, wild fruit is just, nothing tastes like it.
Yeah, usually I'll be like, okay, here's 2. I'm good.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. You can't get greedy with that kind of. Again, it's all about treating nature with an ethical mindset, right?
Oh, for sure. Like, it is, not only is it a food source for us, but it's also a food source for the wildlife that we share this world with. So it's much easier for us to go to a grocery store than they. So
1,000%. Yeah, and I wish that everybody thought like that. Yeah, but you know what?
Not saying growing our own fruits and vegetables, but yeah, when out in the wild, I try not to forage beyond like a sample or something, just because, especially when it comes to like berries and stuff like that, because it is an important food source for them.
It is, yes, and when and sometimes the crops can fail, like the the frost just decimates, and then all the black bears are then in the garbage cans at Mew Lake, right?
Yep. Yep.
Ooh, okay, so we've got a looks like a mosquito sequel over here.
Yeah, so this is another mosquito species. This species, if I'm not mistaken, is more local to our area.
Okay.
I think it's a Floodplains mosquito.
Okay. And I suppose, as the name suggests, these ones may breed bigger in floodplains?
Yeah, so down here in Niagara, we do have a lot of low-lying water, so we do see that a lot.
Yeah.
We have a lot of swamp area in Niagara because of our soil conditions. It does hold water quite well. So also to some of the rivers in the area, we end up with these floodplain areas.
Amazing. And off the top of your head, do you know how many mosquito species there are in the province or the world?
I think I've gotten at least 6, but there's so many species that can't even be ID'd without. So within the insect world, sometimes you can't ID them past their genus level,
right, without
dissection.
How about that? Could you imagine dissecting something so tiny?
And yet people do. That's what entomology is about. They're able to dissect them and able to differentiate one species from another through dissection.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know if I've ever seen a white spider. Whoa.
So this is a white-banded crab spider.
Okay.
It does have a bit of a greenish yellow hue to it.
Yeah.
And from my knowledge, it's actually a species that's at risk in Ontario right now.
Oh
no. And again, this was on my backyard.
Wow.
So a lot of crab spiders will hunt their prey within flowers. And they literally just outreach their arms like that, and they have these amazing little claws on the very end of their tips, and it really allows them to grab their prey so much easier, and their reflexes are just incredible.
Mm-hmm. Wow, just amazing. Great, just head-on angle. It's it's like it's waving almost at you.
Yeah, it's like, hello, I'm here, take my picture.
Right, yeah.
But it's often also defensive.
Yeah.
It's they do that to make themselves look bigger. Sometimes.
Very smart. Yeah, just similar how the park rangers in Algonquin will say, flail your arms up and down to make yourself look
make
bigger.
Yourself look as
right.
Make yourself look as big as possible.
Right, in the event that you stumble upon a bear or whatever animal it is. But very cool. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a spider that color.
And again, not very big. Probably the whole size of my thumbnail.
Wow. Ooh, this is like a ladybird?
Yeah, so this is a ladybird.
Yeah.
We say a lot of people say ladybugs, but again, it's a beetle, so ladybird would be a more appropriate term. This is a polished ladybird. Okay. So it's been polished of its spots. So this is so this particular variety does not have any spots. And if you look really close, you can see the aphids.
I thought so. Yeah. So is it the aphids are those smaller things? Yeah.
Correct. So that's a main source. That's their main source of food is aphids. So they're a gardener's best friend.
So they have now. There's a symbiotic relationship between the aphids and the ladybird.
Well, not symbiotic because they don't the aphid definitely does not benefit from the ladybird eating it.
Okay.
So it's more of a symbiotic relationship between the gardener and the ladybird.
Okay, got you. Yeah. Neat. And is this a nighttime shot as well?
Yes, again, this is a nighttime shot. I find nighttime too, they're less likely to fly away.
Yeah.
So sometimes they're caught sleeping, so I'm not really disturbing them. So, some of them will fly off, or hide under a leaf, but sometimes they're not bothered at all.
Yeah.
But I do find nighttime is probably the most fun.
Yeah.
My neighbors get a kick out of it.
What is that girl doing?
Oh, exactly. I had one of my neighbors like literally yells like, "What are you doing over there?" And I'm like, "Oh, hi, it's just me." And they're like, "Oh, we thought you were a burglar."
Don't mind me. I'm just a geek with a camera.
Yeah. Well, they couldn't tell I had the camera. All they see is this little flashlight running around the yard.
Yeah. Okay, I cannot even begin to tell you what we're looking at here.
So this was taken on Algonquin. This was actually taken on the trail going back into the ponds there at HOWL Pond.
Okay.
Where you get off Mizzy. There's like that shortcut you can get to the ponds back there.
Yeah.
So I had found this alder tree, and there was these white things, and I'm like, what in the world was it? And I thought it was fungus at first. These are actually woolly alder aphids.
What?
Yeah, this is a type of aphid.
Which part is the aphid? The stringy part?
Technically, yes. That's it's a defense mechanism.
Wow.
So they're like coated with this like furry fluff. Yeah.
So alien-like. Susan says, yes, I remember them.
Yeah, Mom was actually with me when I took the shot.
Very cool. Yeah, I've never seen anything like that. Is there a specific type of year when you see this?
This was taken in the fall.
This is fall. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if they would be as prevalent in earlier spring or anything, but it is a species that is very specific to alder.
Wow.
So
okay.
In the insect world, there's often a strong correlation between plants and insects. So there's always this connection. So they depend on a certain species being there for their existence. Very similar to the monarch caterpillars and the milkweed.
Right.
They need that specific plant in order for their survival.
Those relationships isn't that something else?
Yeah, it really is important that we, protect those native species for that reason.
Okay, I think this might be the finale shot right here. Is this Lucas?
This is Mr. Grumpy Pants.
Mr. Grumpy Pants. Okay.
So this was I believe a white-cheeked jumping spider.
Okay.
Probably a peppered jumping spider, to be more specific. And yeah, he's on my hand. I'm shooting one-handed again.
What? Wow. I'm impressed for lots of reasons, but number one, I find whenever I'm doing macro, it's if I lean forward even just like half a centimeter or back, that changes the depth of field. So I can't believe that you've got two variables with your depth.
Yeah, and I'm not supporting, like I'm literally standing. This is at my sister's property. I'm just literally standing in the middle of her yard with this spider on my hand going click.
Wow. Whoa.
And this was maybe 2 or 3 shots tops.
Wow. Talk about rock steady. Wow. Just amazing. I love the eyeballs. Like it looks like a cartoon.
Yeah, that's why I call him Mr. Grumpy Pants.
Susan says, "Oh, he's my favorite."
Yeah,
I can
he's
see why.
yeah, but honestly, jumping spiders are just absolutely the easiest to handle. You can have almost no fear of them whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, you're really selling me on the jumping spiders here. I really need to get a little bit more obsessed with them.
Most times you just put your hand out, they'll just jump on you. When they get bored, they jump off.
I love it. They are so cartoony. You're right.
Yeah. 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 Anyways, I think I've taken more than enough time.
Oh,
and,
no.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Honestly, Wendy, thank you so much for putting together this presentation, and for all the stories behind all of these photos. My mind has been absolutely blown. Amazing imagery, and you've definitely also opened up my eyes to how I can improve my macro photography. I learned that I should be aiming for the higher f-stop number here. So that's
definitely probably was my first mistake, was not using a high enough aperture to get as much of the insect and like it's great when it's flat.
Yeah.
But we can't always have very flat, there's always that three-dimensional, and
right.
When shooting these ultra macros, you really need to step it up to those higher f-stops for sure.
Amazing. Well, we'll be doing, we're going to try to do these photo streams as often as possible, at least once a week or once every 2 weeks, leading up to HOWL. So let's hope that we'll have the pleasure of seeing another future presentation from you. But thank you again so much. And
thank you.
You're so that's Wendy Robbins, everybody, and that's her work. And you're going to be at HOWL 2022.
Yes, I'm coming back for year number 2.
Year number 2, that's right. Wendy over here, one of the original howlers. You were there in 2019 when the world was innocent.
Oh, it was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, and it's going to be even better this year too. I think it's gonna be even better. So yeah, no, we can't wait. We definitely waited a long time for the sequel.
Yes.
So we thank everybody like Wendy that's stuck around with us. And yeah, we're gonna be having an awesome weekend. That's October 21, 22, and 23 this autumn. All right, so you're welcome to stay on the call, or you can just hang up. But we're gonna be talking to Richard next. Richard, if you're there on the line.
I'm here.
All right, we can hear your voice. Your face is on the screen. The only thing I gotta do now is get your slideshow up. So let's get that going here. So, and actually, before we get started, do you want to tell the audience here what you were up to last night?
I was photographing the lunar eclipse.
That's right. Yes, you were.
There was enough breaks in the clouds early on that I could get some shots. Totality, I only had about 5 minutes out before the clouds rolled in, so I didn't get much shooting after that, but I was able to get some images of the eclipse last night.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And yeah, I don't know if there are any other participants or howlers out there that also got to see the eclipse last night, but it was definitely very special. It was very red, right? It wasn't just okay, I thought so.
No, that's why it's called the blood moon, is because as it goes into the Earth's shadow, it gets red that way.
Blood moon, yeah. I love the creative names that they come up for all of these events in the sky, like the super wolf moon, the super moon, the sugar moon. I don't know where they get these things from, but it's
each month of the full moon has got a traditional name sort of thing to it. So it's based in history as to why those are called at those times. Like say this flower moon right now is because spring wildflowers are popping up now, so that's why it's referred to as the flower moon right now. Just this time, it happened to be a super blood moon, flower moon.
All right, and that's why. This is why I love doing these live streams, is because I think out loud all these questions, and they become answered, whether it's from the guests that we have on the show or from somebody chatting with us here. So, yeah, no, keep educating. I love it.
Okay.
All right, so, but of course, we're talking about the hidden details today here, and you're gonna have to tell me what we're looking at here. Susan says.
So Susan says what?
What did she say here? Says awesome results, Gloria Wood Richard. I'm not sure if that is. Okay, never mind. You go ahead.
So this was actually taken yesterday morning. I went out to try out my new macro lens that I had bought about a month and a half ago.
Nice.
So this is with my native, like this is for the mirrorless system with the native mounted macro lens that they popped out. So I need to go test it out and try it out. So this was a red Trillium that I just focused on the one end of the Trillium leaf, which had this little bit of a water drop from the rain the night before.
Yeah. And I really like what you did with this, because normally you're always going for the center of the flower, but I like how you were like, scratch that, I'm going for the tip. But I think like the interaction between the droplet and just the angle and the tip of the flower, I just think it works brilliant.
Yeah, so like I was saying on the last presentation, you got to try different angles and stuff like that to see what works and what doesn't. So, and say here you're using that low f-stop, like say Wendy was talking about using a bigger f-stops because she needs to get the whole bug in focus. Here I'm going with that narrow thing, so you got like a very narrow depth of field to get just that drop and that little bit of tip of the flower in focus.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how thin that is.
Oh yeah, no, it can be a challenge at times trying to get the shot sort of thing, because like I say, the more you open the f-stop, it also means the more your background isn't going to be in focus.
Right.
So you gotta play with that balance sort of thing as well.
Yeah. I almost try to hold my breath when I'm doing this kind of stuff, because if I breathe, it's going to change my depth of field, right?
Absolutely. Like I say when I'm shooting macro for these cases with my wildflowers, I'm on a tripod. I'm using a cable release on the camera sort of thing, so that I want to minimize that motion as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also usually going first thing in the morning, sort of almost kind of before sunrise, because once the sunrise comes, you're usually getting more wind at that point, and it can start shaking the flowers, and you'll end up like a lot of motion blur in your pictures and stuff like that. So you can get really frustrated, and a lot of times I'll just, depending on the weather and the stuff like that, I might just pack it up if it starts getting a little breezy.
Yeah, so it's so true. So true, yeah.
Or pack it up by moving on to some other subject, which sometimes might be breakfast.
Hey, breakfast, most important meal of the day.
That's right.
Susan says intimate details are so intriguing. I completely agree. Yeah, and that's why I wanted to do a photo stream where we look at these intimate details, because it's like a whole other world.
Absolutely. So this is another one of the Trilliums I was going for that morning.
Beautiful.
Last year I found on Stubbs Falls Trail there's a certain section of it that has a lot of red Trilliums. So I was taking advantage of that because, like I say, they were fresh out, so they were really nicely open, not dead leaves and stuff like that. So again, testing out the macro shots with the camera and making sure I got the stamens in focus properly. One thing I didn't notice in this picture at the time that I should have done something different is there's this sort of a yellow straight line in my picture at the back.
Oh yeah.
There's probably a stick in the background that I probably should have moved out of the way, sort of thing, so it isn't drawing in the focus a little bit.
Yeah. And you know, it's
you got to be very careful on your backgrounds when you're shooting macro, because it will become sometimes be very noticeable if it's too distracting.
Yeah. And to clone that out would be a mega headache too.
Yeah, no, in this case, I'm not as unhappy with it as I have been in maybe some of my pictures, because it's actually directing the eye to the Trillium sort of thing. So if it was pointing straight up and down on the one leaf, it'd be probably more problematic than in this particular shot.
Yeah. The more you can do to declutter your composition, then that just means less work in Photoshop later on cloning, right?
Very true. And we want to be out there shooting. We don't want to be playing in Photoshop.
Exactly. Okay, Susan.
Or Lightroom, as the case may be.
Susan says, ask Richard why they are stinking smelling. I'm not sure what that refers to.
The red trilliums, if you were to smell a red trillium, it has a very foul odor. They're sometimes called stinky jacks.
No way.
Out there. It's an attraction for flies and stuff like that for pollination purposes.
Well, there's always a reason, right? Okay, well, there's a couple red trilliums just across the street here. I'm gonna smell them tomorrow.
Yeah.
To get a taste of that of the foul odor.
Yeah. Yeah, like I say, they're been referred to as whiskey jacks and stinky jacks is what I've kind of heard them referred to as, but besides red trilliums.
Oh, okay. Wendy says they attract the carrion fly.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
So these are some spring beauties that haven't actually opened up. So I find most of the spring beauties usually close up at night and will open up during the day. So when I go out first thing in the morning, they're usually closed. But again, with the rain we had that Saturday night, you got all these little water droplets on the flowers, which really, really pretty.
Yeah. And there you go again, just nailing the water droplets. You're on fire.
Yeah,
here.
say a lot of times when I'm focusing with wildflowers and stuff like that, I'm manually focusing to make sure I got what I want to focus in focus.
Yeah, actually, and you know what? That's something I wanted to ask Wendy that I forgot to ask, and this is a question for Wendy: is do you manual focus or do you auto-focus when you're doing your macro close-up works? So, Richard, it sounds like you go manual.
I will be a lot of times I go manual, especially like when I got my new camera. My old macro lens is an very old Sigma that the autofocus doesn't work on the new camera.
Right.
So I had to go manual there.
Right.
Before I had the mirrorless system, and now that I've got the new camera, I'm going to be trying both and see how it works. Prior to this camera, my focus points were so large that sometimes I couldn't get it focused right, so I had to go manual. In the mirrorless system, my focus points are a lot smaller and stuff like that, so I have a little bit more control to know what area I want to be focused in. Yeah. But I still sometimes, when I'm looking at it, no, that's not quite right. Flip it to manual and just do that minor tweaking.
Yeah. Yeah, 1000%. Yeah, it's a good skill to have to be able to do it manually because, let's face it, sometimes the auto is unreliable. It just cannot get it.
Yeah, no, you say you got to be able to do it manually. Like say you can hope for the camera to do its job as well, but sometimes you just have to go old school.
Yeah, 1000%. Wendy says manual mostly, but it depends on the size of the subject. Okay, and Susan says, lovely, Richard. Nice, Richard.
Thank you.
So you're getting lots of love from the audience today.
Thank you.
All right. Now, is this the same Trillium that we're looking at?
No, this is another Trillium along the trail sort of thing I just was come across. And again, just let's say there's a little bit of enough of light in the back to get backlit, so it really kind of pops out those veins in the leaves of the Trillium.
You're right. Yes, that does make the veins pop up. Yeah, now that
yeah, so the backlighting can be really nice when you're doing macro work with wildflowers. Yeah. So that you get that coming through the flower leaves like that, it really pops up all those structures in the actual leaves themselves.
Yeah. And trying to get your depth of field correct is like throwing darts at a dartboard, right? I like how you have, the veins in the red, and then you've got, of course, the stem stuff in the center, and then you've also got that green leaf down in the right corner with a little bit of water droplets too.
Yeah, so that's because that all those sections fall in the same plane that's in focus. So they say that's why, you have to move it around a little bit to know what's in focus, what's not. This is something where I haven't done it yet. I got to start learning a little bit more about focus stacking. I've done pictures here where I've got the focus in a variety of areas. I just have to go with the computer and figure out how do I actually focus stack to actually get more of the area in focus.
Okay. And you know what, Wendy mentioned focus stacking, and now you're talking about it too. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm unaware of what focus stacking is.
So you've got a three-dimensional object here. Let me just like a box like this.
Okay.
My focus plane is just like this.
Okay.
So when I'm focusing, I've got this little section here that's in focus.
Yeah.
Focus stacking means I'll take a shot here and focus, here and focus, here and focus, and all the way through.
Okay.
And then the computer will combine those pictures so that everything is in focus in that subject.
Oh, wow. Is that something that Lightroom does?
I haven't seen the program in Lightroom. It's something I think more Photoshop does, but I have to figure out the scripts and what you need to do it. I say I'm just starting to learn that process, like on how to do it.
I've never. The concept makes total sense to me. But I've never ever taken a picture using that method.
Yeah, I say I've not done it much myself, sort of thing. That's why it's a learning process for me. But my new camera, it's actually got a focus stacking section where I can just go in. It will automatically do the like I've just got to set up like how many pictures I take and the degrees and stuff like that. But it will take all the shots that I need to do a focus stack, and then I just have to figure out how to do it in the computer.
That's wild. Wow. Okay, Wendy says Helicon ? So maybe that's the name of the software. And
it's probably another type of software that you can use for focus stacking. I haven't looked into that much. I want to see what Photoshop has because I've got Photoshop sort of thing, and figure that if I can do that easily first before I go into buy a new program.
1,000%. And I mean, Photoshop is really versatile too.
Yeah. But sometimes not as easy as some of the other programs.
Exactly. Okay, Wendy says Don Comerica mastered this.
He's a photographer who I think he was in Barrie. I don't know if he's moved. I think he's moved from Barrie.
Okay.
At this point, but he does a lot of macro stuff, and especially like snowflakes is one of his big ones that I've seen. Cool. where he's like the snowflake is in perfect focus, and I think he focus stacks with the snowflakes as well because of the sort of narrow beam that he's got with the focus plane.
Okay, so apparently Don has moved to Bulgaria.
Yeah, I thought I heard that he'd moved. But he was in the Barrie area at one point. I think he moved within the past year or two. I think.
All right, so basically, currently the photographer who does focus stacking the best here in Ontario, that title is up for grabs.
There we go.
So Richard, I think you're gonna take it soon, right?
I'll say it's gonna be a little bit of time. We got to figure things out, but I'll go for it. So this is a white Trillium. I kind of focused really close in to try to get a lot of this, like mostly focusing on the stamen and the petals around it. Again, you got those nice little water drops from the rain the night before. The stamen's a little out of focus compared to what I really wanted, but it's just that I probably just knocked the focus just a little bit, so it got a little further back than I had initially intended. But still very nice. It's still a beautiful shot that I love.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And Susan says, I remember that one. ... Perfection. I agree. Wendy says, still beautiful. And you know what? I agree. And I totally have those kinds of pictures in my portfolio where the focus isn't 100% on, but it's 95% enough that's the one. It's still the one, right? It can't be forgiven.
And let's face it, sometimes you're your own harshest critic, sort of thing. So I'll notice it and be frustrated with it, but everyone else will be just amazed at it, sort of thing. So
yeah,
you gotta keep that in mind too, because you could be your own worst enemy at sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah. In which case you'll just have a headache all the time.
That's right.
This is a purple one. I don't know what.
So initially, I was thinking, when I first took the shot, I was thinking this was just a spring beauty that was just a lot darker than most. But after looking at some of the other pictures I took around it, it's actually a wild violet.
Oh right.
It just hasn't opened up yet, and it's just a wild purple violet.
Okay, wild violet. Aha! The audience got that one correct. Wild violet, says Wendy. Very cool.
And this I just like the closed aspect of it, and just was trying to get that tip at the end. That's where I kind of was aiming for that perfect focus, sort of thing.
Yeah. And is this early in the morning?
Yeah, this is one of the last shots I took of the wildflowers that morning, because at that point the sun was starting to rise, and you were getting breeze and some motion in the flowers, and especially like a little flower like this, that little motion will kill your pictures and stuff like that.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Okay, so this shot, I feel like this one is a little bit further away from.
This is where I went. The white Trillium. Yeah. So yeah, this is a little further away. This isn't actually from this production. This one is. So this was probably the last shot of my group that was taken yesterday morning.
Cool.
Yeah. So I just pulled my camera, the camera back. No, actually, this is a different one. So I set up the camera at this angle, sort of thing, just because I liked the way the flowers were angled and wanted a little bit more of the whole flowers to tell the story of it, and just find that nice pure focus so that I got what I wanted in focus. So the statements are a lot more focused here.
Yeah.
And like I say, with that rain, like the water drops on the flowers were just gorgeous yesterday morning.
Yeah. That's so cool that you can see the water droplets through the petal.
Yeah.
That's so
yeah. Say that backlighting with the water drops, and say it was just a magical morning getting some of these shots.
Yeah. Backlighting. Yeah.
I did pop over to another part of the trail that I know where the painted trilliums are, but they're not out yet.
Ah. Okay. They'll be coming though, right?
Yeah. Say probably next week, maybe, but probably the week after that is where I'm guessing the painted trilliums will be out.
Yeah. Super. Yeah.
Say I'll check this weekend, but we'll see.
Yeah. I think Susan typed in the word emergence, and I think that is a good word that goes with the one just before that with the purple flower.
Just opening up.
Yeah, opening up. Ooh, all right. This almost looks like coral.
These are shots that I've taken in the past from these ones are now that are coming up now. This was taken back in the fall. I'll usually try to find mushrooms in the fall and stuff like that. Yeah. And last year I found this weird little mushroom that I just found the shape and all that very interesting when I was trying to photograph it. Yeah. And again, you got that nice glow from the lighting on it that morning and stuff like that.
Yeah, fungus takes the most odd shapes. It's really cool. Coral mushroom.
There we go.
Yeah. It totally looks like this could be taken at the Great Barrier Reef.
Yeah, no, it's a very weird shape. And wasn't this year when I took the shot? It wasn't this year that I did it, but one year I was there, and there's also a black coral mushroom there that I was taking photographs of one time too. The same area, but the year that I did this one, I didn't see any of that one around.
The shapes that nature takes, it just amazes me constantly.
It does what it needs to do.
That's right. I don't know if I've ever seen mushrooms like this.
So again, I'm not familiar with mushroom names at this point. I need to get a book and start learning that stuff a little bit better. But just these they're very tiny little yellow mushrooms that I was seeing in the trails, and just. I like how the big one was kind of covering the little one, so it was almost like a mother-daughter sort of situation there. And it's just to say that orange popping up from the green just always kind of strikes my eye.
Absolutely, yeah, you're it's so true. Yeah, to have that light orange over top of that green, and yeah, I do love the big and small, like that togetherness, like you said, mother-daughter, siblings, or whatever it is. Yeah. Wax caps? ? Says Wendy. Maybe it's a wax cap.
Say, I've got no way to dispute it, so we'll go sure.
Your guess is better than ours.
That's right.
Really cool. It looks like they're glowing.
Yes. Again, that has a lot to do with the lighting sort of thing, because sometimes I'll position myself so it is a little backlit, which will create a little bit of a glow on the mushroom.
Yeah.
So this is a spring shot from a few years back, and this is a fiddlehead starting to open up. So it's becoming its fern self for the summer.
Very cool. So when is this? What month is this? Is this early
This is probably
spring?
gonna be about May. So at this point, a lot of the fiddleheads are probably starting into this phase right now.
Okay.
If not, they might be just a little further along.
Okay.
Because when I was driving in the park on yesterday morning, there's a section where I know where some fiddleheads are, and I saw them, and they were probably about this phase right now.
Susan says they're unfurling. Yeah.
Here we go.
When they do this, it looks like an alien is.
Yes, I've had a shot previous to this where where it's a little not quite as far along in the process, and it almost looks like eggs on the ferns. So it looked very alien.
Right? So cool. So, and Susan says yes, about 2 weeks ago. All right, this next one. Talk about the lighting. Wow.
So this is a trout lily.
Okay.
They're always pointing down, so there can be a very challenging flower to kind of get shots of. So if you get on a little bit of a hill, you can sometimes aim yourself down and get up into it, sort of thing. But I just loved the backlighting of this flower with bringing that brim light around the flower.
Yeah, that is the star of this photo for sure.
Yeah. So this was probably just after sunrise, but like I say, I don't think the wind had picked up quite much at this point. So I was getting able to get the sunlight on that backlighting of the flower without the wind blowing it. So I kind of lucked out that morning.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it almost looks like an apparition that's with a lantern behind it. It
very, very ghostly.
Very ghostly. Yes, it's such ghost imagery. It's so cool. And then Susan says, when the petals fall off, you can eat the tiny bud left on the stem. Okay, those are the fiddleheads, right, Susan?
No, I think she might be talking about the trout lily.
You can, really. When you can.
We got to check with Susan on that one, but I think that's what she means. Is when these yellow flowers fall off, it creates this little bit of a bud with a little stem on it.
Okay.
So she might be talking about that. But that might be edible.
Okay. Yeah. I don't eat anything in the forest just because I don't want to eat the wrong thing. I need to educate myself
I'm kind
more.
of the same way. I'm more likely to kill myself than eat myself properly.
That's right. Yeah. So Susan, if you could just clarify that statement. Yes, on the trout lily. Okay. Neat. Yeah, it just looks like such a sad flower.
Well, I think this is kind of getting to its phase where it's actually probably going to be dropping the leaves pretty soon. Like say, it's looking like that at this point.
Yeah. Very cool. Let's see. Oh, okay. All right. So this is another stage of the fern/fiddlehead here. Aren't they ever?
So this is not a fiddlehead. This is just a fern that's starting to grow.
Okay, so don't listen to what I just said then. This is just a fern.
Say it is a fern, but it's not a fiddlehead. It's just a little bit of a fern that's starting to pop up out of the ground, and it caught my eye with all the brown around it. That little bit of green, just kind of that new life in spring sort of thing that really popped up, and that's really caught my eye. So as I say, that's kind of the reasons I kind of got that shot. Is just I was immediately drawn to it, so I knew this is something I gotta get.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, this image just has that feeling of adversity or just rebirth.
Yeah. Rebirth for me that's where it is, like that rebirth and getting through the death to get myself alive again.
Yeah, and then the whole forest is that tan, beige, brown color, and then boom, that first emergence of green, right?
Yeah, it's always nice to see the green pop up again after that long winter.
Oh yeah, and it definitely is long here in the Algonquin area.
Yep.
Susan adds, not all fiddleheads are edible. Okay, we'll remember that. And yeah, before you eat anything, make sure you educate yourself
as to what you're eating.
Yeah. Oh yeah, talk about green.
So that's just another fern that's starting to open up, sort of thing. This is probably the only shot of the group that I've taken that was not taken in Arrowhead Park. I think this was up at Brooks Falls.
Okay.
I was shooting the waterfalls one morning, and I just turned my head and just saw this fern that's kind of sitting out of the eye, and I was like, I have to get a shot of that.
Yeah.
So, stopped taking the wedge from the waterfall, took some shots of the fern, then went back to the waterfall.
That's great. The fern stole the show.
Yes, it did that sort of thing there. And so that's what you have to do sometimes. If you catch your eye, take the time and actually do it, because you're going to regret it if you don't. After the fact, when you go back, it's like, oh crap, why didn't I take that shot? It would have taken like 5 minutes.
Yeah. You can't go back in time, right?
That's right. Unless you got the picture to go back in time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Wendy says, love this. I agree.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
This is just one of the trees. This is actually at Stubbs Falls in Arrowhead.
Okay.
There's a tree there that was just kind of sitting on the rock there that you can kind of walk to. And I just saw that water drop in the leaf and just caught my eye. So it's just like one of those, again, I got to take the shot and just give it a go and say it came out pretty nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it is incredible how we have no leaves on the trees, and then you notice the little buds start, and then all of a sudden everything's it just happens.
It's
so
just
suddenly.
it's just green at that point, and it's always nice to see that green come back.
Yeah. Susan says, yes, so delicate. Yeah, I know, these little buds. Very cool. Ooh, wow. Okay, and I think this is the last one of your show here today. Saving the best for last. Wow, what is that, an orchid or something like that?
That is an orchid. That is a pink lady slipper.
That's a pink lady slipper. A wild?
Yes, this is actually in Arrowhead Park.
That's Arrowhead Park. Pink lady
Yeah,
slipper.
I didn't realize. I was walking the trail probably about 5 years ago. I was walking the trail one winter, and I'd always walked one side of the trail, but never really walked the other side. I was just walking the other side and just kind of across a little grove of pink lady slippers, which I wasn't expecting.
Wow.
I found out later that actually, if you go to the Arrowhead Beach, there's a section of the beach that has a bunch of pink lady slippers in the spring as well.
Wow.
So it's I don't know what other orchids might be in the area or not. Like I know in Ontario, the biggest orchid area is over in Tobermory area in the Bruce National Park. But I came across this one, and every year I always try to get back there so I get some shots of the lady slippers.
Wow. Yeah, the color on it is so cool.
Yeah, this was a shot. I think this particular shot was at the beach area sort of thing. So you got that nice golden light of sunrise sort of thing there. The wind hadn't picked up quite yet, so I was able to get some shots before the wind was starting to shake it too much.
Yeah.
So you got that nice golden light of sunrise, but it was in a shady area, so it wasn't direct light. Everything just worked magically in the shot.
Magic is the word to describe it. Yeah, and that silky smooth background too.
Yeah, so that bokeh in the background, I always love that getting that shot with that sort of soft background like that.
Yeah. Wow, what a grand slam here as your finale. That's amazing. We have a lot of orchid fans here in the audience. Susan loves orchids. Wendy loves orchids as well. Wendy also says we had seen Jack in pulpits today. Is that?
Yeah, I saw there was one on the trail that I did a shot yesterday, but I wasn't in a really great position to get a shot of. But I did see some at least just one of those on the trail when I was doing the shots yesterday.
Neat. Wow. Very.
But I only did a small section of the Stubbs Falls Trail at the beginning, sort of thing, and then I drove around to the other spot where I could see if there was any of the painted trilliums.
That is amazing. Well, thank you, Richard, for sharing
you're welcome.
your hidden details images here. That is awesome. And then, so yeah, you're going to be doing a photography outing with your club later this week, right?
No, it's the actual just a photo club meeting.
It's a meeting, a photo club meeting. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the Muskoka Photo Club has a meeting this Wednesday.
Super. Well, I hope it's a great time. And then, yeah, we'll let you know when we're going to do our next photo stream after
Absolutely.
the long weekend. We have the long weekend coming up here. Is anybody going to be in the Algonquin area for the long weekend? Yeah, all right. Richard's got it. I'm going to be here. I'm always here I'm here all the time.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get out there and do at least a drive through the park and at least one of the days of the weekend.
Yeah. Oh, Wendy is having a little FOMO. Wish I was. Susan might be here in the Algonquin area. Very cool. Right on. All right. Well, hey, and we had Steve Dunsford here just join our call here as well. Steve, I don't know if you just want to pipe in here and say hi to everybody.
Yeah, I made it. I was a little late, but I did make it, so that was awesome.
Yeah,
Nice
well,
to see a few people here.
yeah,
Susan
well,
and Wendy and Richard.
yeah, I know. We had two other presenters today. It was great, and we have not spent really any time on close-ups or macros, so it was a really cool program.
Something different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I, you know what? I was chatting with Susan. Oh, Susan says hi, Steve.
Hey, Susan.
Susan also says, Richard, give me a call. Okay, so I'm just relaying the chat messages here. But yeah, awesome. And then, yeah, so after the long weekend, we're going to be doing another photo stream. I'll let all the howlers know when that's going to be. And we were chatting with Susan, and we were thinking something along the lines of honoring Algonquin Park. And I know that Susan's very excited to participate in the next one. So Susan, we'll chat more off stream to organize that. And of course, Richard and Wendy, you're also welcome to participate in our future ones as well. But yeah, things at the restaurant, how are they going? Are they picking up? They must be.
Yeah, it is getting a bit busier. So
yeah, pretty soon you're not going to be able to be featured on these live streams, Steve, because you're going to be serving tables until 10 p.m., right?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'll sneak away.
Yeah. Awesome. And have you had a lot of time to take some pictures in the park recently, or have you been pretty busy with work?
I've been pretty busy in the last while, but I still managed to get out a bit into the park and seen some moose and got a few shots.
Nice. I've been seeing otters. We were just talking with Wendy. Wendy hasn't seen an otter yet. I feel like I see otters all the time. It'll happen, Wendy. It'll happen.
Oh yeah, they're there.
Yeah. Oh, they're there. Yeah. Right on. Awesome. Well, anyways, it was amazing chatting with everybody, and it was great to also have Steve here. Of course, Steve and we are the HOWL Photo Convention organizers. It's going to be October 21st, 22nd, and 23rd in 2022. I posted in the group. We were featured in F-Stoppers, which is for the second time.
That's amazing.
Yeah. F-Stoppers is actually a legit photography media site. It's so cool. Mark Dunsmuir is the writer, and he's been chatting with me quite a bit, and he's gonna do another between now and HOWL. He's gonna do one more article on HOWL, and then he's also going to write about HOWL. If he can't, he's gonna try to attend in person. If he can't make it in person, then he's gonna watch it all virtually. But he wants to provide us with some coverage. He's an ethical wildlife photography enthusiast as well, just like all of us. So he's totally into this scene, and yeah. So anyways, just a shout out to Mark Dunsmuir from F-Stoppers for that amazing coverage. And then Steve, you were chatting with the writer from Muskoka Life recently, right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I was in there going ahead this year with the Algonquin version of it, Algonquin Life. And so there will be an article in there about HOWL, and it'll have some background with both of us in there too. So
amazing.
Yeah, that's good. It's a very good quality magazine.
Yeah, and that do you know when that magazine will be printed and available?
I think it's towards the end of June.
Towards the end of June.
Yeah, the deadline was mid-May for all the information, so I'm thinking it'd probably be mid-June to end of June.
Awesome. Yeah. And what is the circulation of Muskoka Life? Will that end up in Huntsville as well as the east side here?
Well, they have two, Muskoka Life, and then the one will be in is the Algonquin Life. So that
Algonquin Life.
Yeah, I think there was some circulation in Huntsville area too. Awesome. And then I'm assuming we'll get some of those magazines over this way too, since we're featured in it.
Yeah. Great.
And then of course in the it was also at the Eastgate, Westgate, and Visitor Center too, and the all the different businesses in the park, and in some of the ones around the park too.
Awesome. Yeah, and we sincerely thank all of the howlers out there that have stuck with us and that are participating with the live streams and supporting us. It means a lot to us, and we really love the opportunity for all of us photo geeks to get together and celebrate this kind of stuff, because yeah, we need to continue that spirit of mindfulness of nature. We were chatting about that earlier, about foraging with Wendy, and just how important it is just to be conscious of our impact, right, Steve?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
A few more comments here. Wendy says, I'll be up at the end of June. Can't wait to be up north again. Oh, I'm sure you can't wait. And Wendy, I hope you get to catch some black flies. I really do. Hopefully they're not all dead before you get here. Because, of course, you'll be just in time, Wendy, for the mosquitoes. Curse those mosquitoes. And then Susan says, we'll come and see both of you for sure. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. We're opening up a tavern. Bongo Picks Tavern will be opening July 1st. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Well, Friday and Saturday nights, we're going to have live music every Friday and Saturday night here at the Bongo Picks Tavern. And then Sunday, we're going to have a coffee house during the day. So that's also another feature that will be another new thing that will be opening up here in Whitney, in our area. So for those of you that are up here on the weekends, Bongo Picks Tavern, and you know, if you follow Bongo Picks, we'll be keeping you in the loop with all of the different stuff that we'll be doing. So yeah, lots of exciting stuff here happening in Whitney.
Yep. It's that's for sure, and I'm looking forward to July 1st too.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we're just so happy with all the momentum that HOWL has right now, with all the media buzz, and of course the COVID situation seems to be going in the direction that we need it to be going. So yeah, I'm so excited for October. Awesome. All right, friends. Well, that's pretty much all that we had for our show today. I don't know, Steve, if there was anything that you wanted to say, or any last minute presentations that you want to surprise us with.
Yeah, no, I'm all good.
Awesome.
It's just great to join you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I really feel the sense of community spirit here with everybody. So again, we appreciate all of the love and support, and again, I'll get connected with all the howlers, and we'll pick a date for the next photo stream, which we'll do sometime after the long weekend.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, everybody, you take care. For those of you that are on the Google call, feel free to hang up whenever you want, and we'll see you next time.